Have you ever just stopped and wondered, what makes a life genuinely valuable? Well, today we're diving into this really fascinating framework from the writer Xu Mo. It's called the 18 Grades of Life. Now, don't worry, we're not going to go through all 18 one by one. He groups them into three main stages of a journey up a mountain of self-discovery. It's a completely different way to think about meaning, so let's get right into it.
So let's start with that huge question. How do we measure a life? I mean, is it how much money you have in the bank? Is it that fancy title on your business card? Or maybe it's just about feeling happy from one day to the next. These are the usual yardsticks, right? But what if they're missing something much, much deeper? And this is where Sumo introduces this really cool concept, pin. It kind of translates to an inner quality or, get this, a kind of spiritual fragrance. The whole idea is that this internal quality, not all the external stuff, is the real measure. The higher your pin, the higher your grade of life. It completely flips the script from what you have to who you are.
Okay, so our journey begins at the base of the mountain. This is where most of us live. And the one thing that defines this place is that life is focused almost completely on the outside world. So what does that actually look like? Well, these are states we can all recognize, right? There's the life that's all about chasing money, the life driven by getting more status and more power, or the one that's totally centered on taking care of family duties. And there's even the life spent trying to make everything absolutely relentlessly perfect. This quote just nails that mindset perfectly. When your main focus is money, the entire world changes for you. It's not really about human connection anymore. It's about calculation. Every person you meet, every choice you make, it all gets filtered through this lens of what's in it for me. And the base isn't just one thing. On the one hand, you could have a life of just incredible self-sacrifice, where a parent gives literally everything for their kids. But on the other hand, you can have a life that's purely driven by satisfying your own immediate wants and desires. Both are focused on the external, but they show you just how wide the range of motivations can be down here. And here's the real kicker. According to this framework, over 90% of people are living their lives primarily at the base of this mountain. Now, that's not a judgment. It's more of an observation of our collective center of gravity. Survival, society, biology, it all kind of pushes us towards these external goals first. It's the default setting for being human. But then, what happens when you start to look up from the base? Well, that's when you begin the climb. This is the path of self-awareness, where your focus starts to pivot from the world out there to the world in here. But let me tell you, this climb is not easy. There's a major obstacle on this path, and it's represented by this really powerful metaphor, the uncarvable stone. So an uncarvable stone is someone whose mind has become, rigid. They're locked into a very specific dogma or ideology, and their worldview is just cemented in place. New ideas, different ways of looking at things, they just bounce right off. And moving past the stage is absolutely crucial for the climb.
So, how do you stop being an uncarvable stone? Well, it's this process of opening up. It starts with rigid certainty. 1 plus 1 only equals 2, period. Then your mind starts to expand a little. You realize, oh wait, 2 can also be 3 minus 1 or 4 divided by 2. And finally, you get to a place where you can embrace complexity, understanding that reality is dynamic, and you just can't nail it down with one simple formula.
The people on this climb, they're the seekers. They're the artists, the poets, the thinkers. Their motivation isn't that external validation we saw at the base, like money or status. Nope. It comes from an inner fire, this deep calling to explore some unique truth or to create something beautiful, even if the rest of the world at the base doesn't really get it. And now, we reach the summit. This is what the whole journey has been building towards. It's described as the first grade, the absolute highest state of wisdom in this entire framework.
Reaching this summit starts right here, with genuine independent thought. This is the ability to form your own conclusions, totally free from the pull of the crowd, popular opinion, or some dogma you were handed. You actually think for yourself.
And out of that independence comes a truly profound understanding. This is way more than just knowing a bunch of facts. It's seeing the deep patterns, seeing how everything is connected. It's about grasping the fundamental principles that really govern life itself. And the result of all that thought and understanding, it's a state of inner harmony. You develop this core of deep, unshakable peace. External events, chaos, failure, even huge success or wealth, they just can't knock you off balance anymore. You are totally centered. This quote just perfectly captures what it's like to be at the summit. When one reaches the first grade, they can smile at the storm. They have their own universe. The chaos of the outside world, the constant winds of drama and desire, they just don't get to you anymore. Okay, now it is so important to understand how to use a framework like this. This isn't about slapping labels on people or creating some kind of spiritual pecking order. It's meant to be a map for your own self-reflection. So let's do a super quick recap of the journey, right? At the base, your focus is external and you're driven by outside goals. On the climb, your focus turns internal as you start awakening and questioning everything. And finally, at the summit, your focus becomes universal, leading to a state of deep understanding and harmony. And this is really the whole point. The purpose of this map isn't to look down from your spot on the climb and judge everyone at the base. It's to look at the map, see where you are, and understand the different paths that are open for your own personal growth. So I'll leave you with this question. If these grades aren't fixed, permanent labels, but just points on a map of human consciousness, take a second to think about your own position. What's your focus? What really drives you? And maybe the most important question of all is, which direction are you heading?